Okay, so I have analysed every single word from every single Firefly Fun House. I have literally gone through every single one, and I've just gone back and checked every single one before recording this for every single microsecond of data that they contain. And there's some good points here that we really need to talk about. Now, the whole Firefly Fun House concept is something we thought was new. I don't think that's true. I think, especially after last night's Raw, what we are seeing is the history of Bray Wyatt in memory form. I think we are inside Bray Wyatt's head. I think this is all like some kind of syndrome where he's replaying everything that's happened to him in his life. And it's not in chronological order. It's not in time order. It's just completely random. We're going to start off looking at episode 1, where Bray called the Funhouse his special place. He introduced us to Mercy the Buzzard, Abby the Witch, and Hurt and Heal, these two gloves that he wore on each hand. He says he used to be a bad man. Is this before the WWE? Bray says he will never turn into that slob loser again and points to a Wyatt cardboard cutout. So maybe it's not before WWE. But then, the most interesting thing happened. He put the glove Hurt to his ear, and it spoke to him, and then he chainsawed his cardboard cutout of Bray Wyatt, which was like, what just happened? Especially because this was episode 1. We'd never even heard of the Firefly Fun House. And then, what just happened? I think him talking to the glove is like a reference to voices in his head. If you put the Hurt to an ear, you're going to do a bad thing. If you put Heal to your other ear, maybe you'll do something good. Maybe this is like an in-between. Maybe he's not a heel or a babyface. Maybe he's just Bray Wyatt. And I like that. I think it's very, very interesting. Episode 2 is what we're going to go on to right now. And this was an interesting one. Bray painted a picture of the Wyatt family compound being burnt down. You can see there's like a face in the window. We all assume Sister Abigail. Which is interesting because, again, if your compound, if your family home was burnt down, it's something that would probably play on your mind for a very long time. Rambling Rabbit was introduced. Abby says Bray was a very bad boy, and Bray says he's sorry and hopes everyone forgives him. Maybe Auden burning down the Wyatt family compound wasn't the first time that it caught fire. We haven't even thought about that concept. Maybe Bray accidentally caused the death of Sister Abigail in a fire years before WWE. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to go on to episode 3, where Mercy eats Rambling Rabbit. His reason was that Rambling Rabbit was trying to make Mercy adhere to his bohemian world view. That's pretty much a cult leader, right? Which is exactly what Bray Wyatt used to be. Bray used to be a cult leader. So I feel like this was Bray saying goodbye to that. In some weird way, he's still a cult leader where he wants you to let him in. But this is so genius that he can just slowly tie in little parts to Bray Wyatt's career. And I think it's very, very interesting that Bray then said it was okay to express yourself. You can be forgiven like I was. And then at the end of the episode, we had all the kids sat round looking very uninterested, very disheartened. And then we move on to episode 4, where Bray says he wants to show the world what he's really been working on. There's a lot of darkness still inside his head. He's learnt to control it. And then we see this. At the time, we have no idea on the name. We have no idea what the hell is going on. We just know this really impressive mask just got debuted. What the hell is happening now? We're thinking some kind of monster. And then he sings Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. The words of that song, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, high above the world so high, like a candle in the sky. Is this not maybe Bray referencing WWE's brass rings, where you can't just reach up and grab them? Maybe because they'd be shiny, stars are like that, I suppose. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know. Episode 5 is what we go on to now. And now, I'm not going to talk too much into this one because I feel like this was just a filler episode. It was like a long video package on basically nothing. There was loads of kids shown with the words like "let him in" and things like that. And I really do feel like this is maybe because Bray had just literally in real life had his baby, or Jojo had his baby, and that was how they needed to fill an episode. That's what I feel, which is very strange because it would be pre-recorded. But we go on to episode 6, and we start with this. Bray holding a paper plate in front of his face with a drawing of a mask very similar to the Fiend, because he does name it in this episode. And I don't think that masked character was real. I feel like it was just Bray holding a mask, paper plate thing, in front of his face. It's almost like he's hiding from the world and creating a character in his head. Doesn't mean the Fiend exists. He says that the Fiend is here to protect us. Is that just in Bray's head? Because Bray does say he is all alone. When he's behind the mask, he can be whatever he wants to be. Which is very interesting because it is that kind of syndrome where you want to kind of put something in front of you as like a barrier. And I think this is very juicy information because we all got hyped for the Fiend. Maybe the Fiend just doesn't exist yet. Also in this episode, Abby asks Bray why he won't let her rest. Bray says he will never let her rest. Abby says she doesn't want to be in limbo anymore, which I think's interesting. I feel like Abby is trapped inside Bray's head. And although Bray kind of wants to let go of her, he can't. He cannot let go of Sister Abigail. That makes a lot of sense, right? Now, episode 7, which was the most recent episode, we get introduced to Huskus the pig, which is obviously a reference to Husky Harris, his name in WWE prior to Bray Wyatt. Bray does say to Huskus that all his success will come back to bite him in the tail, that one day they will say you have the whole world in your hands, and then there's a knock at the door, and unbelievably, Devil Vince McMahon was behind the door. He came round, he told Bray to get his act together, and I think this was more talking to Huskus. Vince nearly fired Huskus, and then Bray sort of stood up for him and sort of said no, and then they did the Muscle Man dance. Oh my god, I seriously can't get that out of my head. Vince, about halfway through, joins in. Is this in reference to Vince getting on board with Bray Wyatt's hard push as Husky Harris transitioning into Bray after seeing Husky's hard work? Maybe. And this is, I think, my biggest evidence that this is some kind of memory from Bray Wyatt. Like, maybe he, as Husky Harris, sees himself as a pig. Maybe that's the reference here. I mean, this is what we have to remember. If this isn't in chronological order, these are all jumbled about. This could have been episode 3 for all we know. And I really feel like this has answered a lot of questions. Because it almost says to us, okay, Vince didn't like Bray, but he did join in the Muscle Man dance. Does that mean that Vince is really on board with Bray Wyatt? The character Bray Wyatt? I really hope so. I mean, next week, maybe we see something from a reference to the Wyatt family. Maybe we see some reference to his WWE Championship run that was very short-lived. He did deserve a lot better. Maybe we see a reference to his pay-per-view loss streak. Because, man, how many pay-per-views has Bray actually won? It's not many. It's a shame, but it's not many. I really would like to see this continue. And someone actually commented on my video last night saying that the Firefly Fun House should continue for a few months. And you know what? I agree with that. I don't think WWE need to rush this at all. I think WWE could do some really good things for this Funhouse. Not just that, but keep us wanting, keep us guessing, and keep changing, throwing curveballs left, right, and centre. But guys, as always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this is all memories? Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, follow me over on Twitter at CWrestlingUK. Peace!